Hey everybody, this is Walt,
This is Max.
and you are listening to our podcast, The ABCs of Rock and Metal.
We call it Anti-Seminal, and we are, as always, Useless Info Inc. And today, Walt, we are taking on The Doors.
The Doors, Strange Days.
1967. All right, bit of context on this album. So their first album came out in early 1967.
Right.
This one came out late 1967.
Yeah, they
right?
come out almost back to back.
Yeah. And they got a lot of criticism for that.
Right.
What happened was they came out, okay, history of the Doors, essentially. They were doing the club circuit in L.A.
Right.
They got picked
Right.
up for the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Right. Became the house
Became
band.
the house band. They were discovered by Elektra Records, by that guy, I can't remember his name, but I can picture the guy who plays him in the movie.
That actor.
Yeah, that actor, right, yeah.
Who's also in The Crow.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So they kind of became big. Elektra Records picked them up. They come up with their first album. Then they start touring, and they take a break during touring to cut this one, cut
Right.
Strange Days. And a lot of critics said that, well, essentially this album was full of the tracks that didn't make it to the first album.
Right.
That was the base of the criticism.
Right.
I think there's a couple of ways of looking at that. I think that's one way of looking at it. I would say that the way that I look at it is that they had played Whiskey A Go-Go for a while. They worked on a lot of material.
Had a lot of material.
They developed stuff. It's not so much that the weaker stuff ended up on this record. It's that they had so much stuff that they couldn't fit it all in one record.
Right.
So they saved a lot of it for the second one.
Yeah, and they weren't big enough to release a double album at that
Exactly.
point.
Yeah, not your first record. I think that's kind of where we stand on this album in
Right.
general. I was surprised when I looked at the reviews of the time.
Yeah.
When I found a lot of that, because when we talked about doing this one for Anti-Seminal, I'm like, this is Anti-Seminal, really? But yeah, it
Surprisingly.
it kind of is.
It wasn't received very
Yeah,
well.
because to me, this is a significant Doors album.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot darker than
Yes.
the previous, than the debut.
Another interesting thing about this album. So the first album was recorded the way most albums were around that time, which is just like you put a band in a studio,
In a room together.
they play,
Right.
and you record them, right?
Right.
It's essentially like capturing a live performance.
Right. Which the Doors were masters at this point.
Exactly. Now, this was the first album that employed an 8-track recording machine. Now,
Right.
why don't you kind of explain a little bit about what that means, an 8-track machine?
Well, essentially, different tracks for different instruments.
Right.
But I think essentially what they did on this album was, I believe, Robbie and Ray were on one track. Mm-hmm. Densmore's drums had one track.
Yeah.
So that's just two right there.
Okay.
Morrison had a third.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they saved a track for overdubbing for Robbie's
Right.
guitars.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
5. Vocal overdubbing, which is 6, I believe. Now, correct me. I'm thinking this through now. Mm-hmm. Was it a 8-track or was it 4-track?
I heard it was 8-track.
It was 8
for
track?
this album.
For
yeah.
this album. 4 tracks was the previous.
Exactly.
Then.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
that
I'm
was
thinking of.
standard.
Right.
That was standard.
That was standard.
On this one, they were able to employ more experimentation in the studio.
Right.
Which placed it at an interesting spot just in rock history, because more albums was trying to have that kind of production on them.
Right.
And from what I understand, the engineer, Bruce Botnick, acquired an early copy of a little album called Sgt. Pepper, which you may have heard of,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Which inspired everyone to try more experimentation and overdubbing on this album.
Right. So then rethinking it, 4
Yeah.
tracks, everybody gets their own track.
Yeah.
Per instrument, and
Yeah.
then 4 tracks for experimenting and overdubbing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah. So this is a much more studio-focused album.
Right.
So it's a completely different experience from the first one.
Right.
Okay. Is that
And it's produced by Paul A. Rothchild.
Paul Rothchild? He was very important in the whole
yeah.
scheme of things, because again, the more you do studio-focused experimentation, the more the producer becomes an important person in the whole mix.
Pretty much almost a member of the band.
Exactly. I mean, as
At
we
that
talked
point.
about a couple of episodes ago with Mutt Lange,
Right.
the Def Leppard album.
Yeah.
This is quite a bit earlier, but this is at the point when producers began to be much more important.
Much more important in the record biz
Yeah.
and to the band in
Exactly.
the studio.
So it's an interesting album, not only for the Doors, but for that kind of era of rock recording.
That dynamic
Exactly.
between producer and band.
Exactly,
And they stuck with
yeah.
him throughout their career.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I believe
Okay.
every record is produced by the Doors and
Yeah.
or just by Rothschild. I think later records were produced by Rothschild and the Doors.
Okay.
I think the credit is credited as such.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so shall we get into this?
Absolutely.
First song would be the title track.
Here we go with Strange Days.
Yep, Strange Days. Now, my understanding is that this is one of the first uses of the Moog synthesizer.
The Moog, yeah.
Yeah, for the vocals.
Right, okay, right.
Yeah,
To have that
because it's got this
echoey
weird kind of,
underwater effect almost.
yeah.
Very moody.
Yeah.
to open an album as well.
Exactly.
You can see why people might be a little startled picking this up after the first release
Yeah.
with the way it opens.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah.
Befitting.
It's absolutely strange. Yeah. The keyboard's very eerie. The guitar is kind of subtle. The bass is prominent.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Now, that's always interesting to me because they never had a permanent bass player.
No.
Who was like a member of the band.
There was always Ray who did it on keys. He did bass lines on keys
when
live.
they're performing live.
Right.
But on this album, they had Douglas Luban on some of the tracks. Not all of them, though.
Right.
On this one, I think he played, right?
On the opening? Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, as
I believe so.
Session bassist. Now, I first heard this song on Miami Vice.
Really? That was
You
the
know the
first time?
episode?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
There's one
about.
flashback episode.
Right.
To
when
Vietnam.
he was in Vietnam, right.
Yeah.
With his buddy who kind of went a little mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this song just kind of perfectly encapsulated
sure.
like that era.
Right.
Of just like this idea of like what the fuck is going on in our world right now. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
look at
Strange Days. Yeah, that's the whole
Look
concept.
at Apocalypse Now, too.
Yeah. Which, of course, that's the end. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Vietnam movies went for the Doors.
Yeah.
For the Doors music.
Because they had that kind of really dark edge of just like society is just kind of falling apart right now.
Very sullen view of the world.
Yeah. Got any more for this one?
No, just said it's a killer track.
It's a cool track, right?
I love it.
It's a great way of opening.
It's an odd way to open a record, but
Yeah.
that's why I like it. Mm-hmm. It sets the tone for the entire album.
Yeah.
You know, not just in title, but in feel and sound.
Uh-huh.
Morrison's voice is almost in the background on this.
Yeah.
Not as prominent
Yeah.
as on other tracks on this album and on the debut record. They really featured his vocals.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more going the other way, like you said, with the effect, the Moog effect.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like he's speaking to you from another dimension almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Very eerie.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And when you listen to it, he sounds desperate, more and more desperate as the song goes on.
Good
Like
point.
right
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's pleading with the audience.
Drowning or something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah, no, very cool. All right, next up, this is Your Lost Little Girl. Opens with a bass figure, which, again, I have to point out because this is not their bassist who's actually part of the band.
Right.
But the bass plays a prominent role in a lot of these songs.
Yeah.
A descending bass figure always seems to spell doom.
Oh, of course.
As in, like, dazed and confused.
Right.
You know? Yeah, so again,
Kind
setting
of
up a
walk down
dark
bass.
exactly. And Morrison is in kind of creepy crooner mode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Full on Dark Morrison here. It's just the title alone, Your Lost Little Girl, is so menacing.
Yeah.
You know, is
Yeah.
he the antagonist? Protagonist? What's happening here? You know?
If I had to choose, Morrison's going to be the antagonist.
I believe so. But then
Yeah.
it almost gets a little bouncy here,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
you know, as opposed to the creepy opening.
And the guitar solo is kind of gentle.
Oh,
It
yeah.
comes in a little bit later,
Very
right?
soft, yeah.
Yeah.
Soft touch to it.
Yeah.
Not dissing it in any manner.
No.
Not
Yeah,
disrespecting.
yeah.
Robbie's
Yeah.
always been a solid guitar player.
Yeah.
The amazing thing about Robbie Krieger, too, is that when they first got together as a group,
Mm-hmm.
he'd only been playing guitar for something silly like 6 months.
Oh, really?
He'd only
Huh.
been playing for 6 months.
Wow, okay.
I saw that on a special on the Doors recently.
Huh.
And I was surprised at that as well.
Yeah.
The special, the documentary is When You're Strange. So I recommend it.
Okay.
It's one of the better documentaries about the Doors.
He certainly developed quite a bit
Oh, yeah.
with the... Yeah, I imagine all that time at Clubland.
Oh, sure.
You know.
You cut your teeth.
Exactly.
You
yeah.
become a unit,
Yeah.
you know, where you can...
Yeah, here
we
it comes.
go. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, almost flamenco.
Yeah.
The way Robbie was kind of trained.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a flamenco song in the later album, right?
Right.
Is it Spanish Caravan?
Spanish Caravan.
Yeah. Now, is that him doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nicely done. Yeah.
Yeah. And he never used a pick. He played with his fingers.
Huh. Okay.
He would grow his fingernails out a little bit
Yeah.
to kind of pluck along at the strings.
Okay.
So he didn't play with a pick 9 times out
Yeah.
of 10,
Oh, wow.
which is
Okay.
very interesting about his style of playing.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing about it is his hairstyle.
Yeah.
The guy's got some wild hair, you
Yep.
know? So, it's fun. And then remember in the movie, they were talking about going to a party. I don't know if this actually happened.
Yeah.
And Robbie complains, you just get all the chicks anyway, Jim. I'm like, I don't want to go to the party. It's kind of funny.
Well, would you get some leftovers?
Yeah, you would figure hanging out
I mean,
with him.
why
you're
would you
gonna-
not party with Jim Morrison? I mean,
Exactly.
come on.
You know? You figure.
Yeah.
But no, another solid track.
Yeah.
and unexpected, almost playful dark.
Yeah.
Almost playful.
They did that a lot.
Right.
Yeah, the playful kind of dark thing. Yeah.
I agree.
All right, next up. This is Love Me Two Times. And this one, the lyrics were written by Robbie Krieger.
Right.
Who did that occasionally, yeah. His bluesy guitar drives this one.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool blues riff.
Now, Manzarek plays a harpsichord
Right.
on this one.
Yeah.
Which is because it sounds like a honky-tonk piano.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Even though it's like such a Baroque instrument.
right.
Yeah.
It's almost Stones-ish.
Yeah.
The way
yeah.
he's playing it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah. It's very kind of typical Robbie Krieger,
Yeah.
like his kind of
His
love song.
signature style, kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, the song is an odd subject matter.
Yeah.
You think it's a straight up love song, but it's basically about soldiers going off to war.
Yeah.
This one soldier going away to
Yeah.
possibly Vietnam or
Oh yeah.
what
Sure.
have you
Yeah.
at the time. So he's looking for a double whammy from his girl before he
Give me
goes
one
away.
more, come
Right.
on.
Come on, baby. You know your man's worth a deuce. Twice, baby. Come on.
All right. Got any more?
This was the single, the big hit single.
Yeah,
Okay? This
uh-huh.
and People
Yeah,
Are
yeah, yeah.
Strange, right?
Yep. That's what I got.
I believe that Love Me Two Times did chart.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it was in the top 20 at least, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
I'd be surprised if it didn't. Yeah.
But sound-wise, already moving into different territory as opposed to the last two tracks, the first two tracks.
Right.
It's kind of moving into almost kind of classic Doors sound.
Okay.
Almost.
Yeah.
But great organ there. Great piano work,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? Once again,
harpsichord.
the harpsichord.
Yeah.
That's classic Doors.
Yeah. That's very Manzarek.
That movement, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome player.
Yeah.
Underrated. Rest in peace, Mr. Manzarek.
All right. Next up, we have Unhappy Girl.
First we had a lost little girl, now we got an unhappy
yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Jim? What's happening? Maybe he's talking about Pam once again.
Who knows?
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So is that Swoop a slide guitar? Is that
Yeah.
what you're hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay.
Well, Robbie was known for a slide guitar as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Morrison liked it so much he wanted it on every song, which is overdoing it. But,
Exactly. Yeah.
But he loved it so much he wanted it in everything that they were doing.
Yeah. And at one point, you get a keyboard loop. Yeah, here it is. The
Yeah.
keyboard is looped backwards, right?
Right, that's right.
Yeah, that's again that studio production thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is an interesting effect.
right. Yeah, you hear it this.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Well, once again, you said if Rothschild was looking at Sgt. Pepper,
Uh huh. Yeah.
you know, there you go. There's some influence there.
Exactly.
Backward masking.
Yep. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I mean, Hendrix did it too.
Yeah. 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 Like what?
And you got some hand claps in the back there too.
Yeah. When did Are You Experience come out? 'Cause
Oh
that
my
had
God,
some-
that's like 60.
Is that 66?
I was
or
going to say
67?
67. I was going to say
So
67.
basically the same year as this.
Around there, yeah.
Seems like 67 was a pivotal year for that kind of stuff to start
Right.
happening, right?
Right.
Yeah,
well, you also
yeah.
had Janis around the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the great stuff. But there are always moments where it feels like the carnival ride.
Yeah.
Some of the Doors stuff.
That was a big element.
Oh yeah,
It felt like of
Yeah.
their music.
Yeah.
Yeah. The theatricality, life is a circus, and
Yeah.
all that thing. Yeah.
right. Well, also the album cover, which we'll get into later.
We'll get into that. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a short song too. Consider
It's
it.
very short,
Very short.
yeah.
I mean, there it is. It's over. You know.
Okay. So what's up next? Horse Latitudes.
What do you think that means? It's a Morrisonism.
It's a Morrisonism. This is I guess what they call spoken word today, what we used to just
Yeah.
call poetry.
Right. Right. It is a spoken word piece.
With experimental noise in the background. There's a white noise that kind of makes for the wind.
Right. Wind and storm sounds once again that they like to use often.
There's a apocryphal story that the members of Jefferson Airplane came in during the recording and were basically like, what the fuck is going on?
I could see that.
Because they're like smacking things, going, ow, making these noises.
right.
And like
Little
yeah, all this
screams
kind of
and
shit.
moans in the background.
Okay, well,
And just noise almost. Just a lot of noise, a lot of thumping around on instruments.
tell me what you think of this track.
It sounds like you're in hell. Purgatory of some kind. I mean, I love his words. I always have.
Yeah.
I'm majorly influenced by Morrison's words.
Okay.
But they gave him some poetic license to do something that he wanted to do here.
Yeah.
But once again, you can see audiences being a little put off by this track.
Oh, I can. Yeah.
I mean,
totally
I
imagine
dig
that.
it. And if I was making a film, I would have this in it.
Yeah.
At one point or another.
Yeah.
You know, some apocalyptic scene, some nightmare dream
Yeah.
sequence even. You
Yeah.
know? Because it is a little horrifying when you get into it.
I simultaneously feel a strong connection with this track, but I simultaneously feel a sense of deep shame about this track.
Why is that? Why are you ashamed of it?
We're going on a personal journey right now.
Okay.
Okay, so I got in the doors, in high school.
Sure.
And that was probably the first time I kind of realized that, oh, well, if Jim Morrison's into poetry, then maybe poetry is kind of cool. Because
Yeah,
he's writing poetry.
Right.
Probably the first book of poetry I bought was his The Lords and the New Creatures.
Okay.
The second one was Howl.
Okay.
Because, of course, I started getting into the poets that he was into, like Ginsberg, like Rimbaud, Baudelaire, all those kinds of people. So I started kind of stretching out and exploring, and I started writing my own stuff because, again, hey, if Jim Morrison thinks it's okay, maybe it's not like, pansy bullshit after all. Start writing, start getting into other things. T.S. Eliot, like the gateway drug, you kind of get into more and more. I start reading my own poetry in places. I start, kind of become a writer in my own right.
Were you hitting open mics and things like this?
I actually was,
Beatnik
yeah.
and
I actually was, yeah.
Smoking a cigarette, doing your poems?
So in a way, like I can trace my becoming a writer to this.
Okay, all
To
right.
just like being inspired
Well,
by
that's nothing to be ashamed of. You said
well,
shame.
well, that's the other side of the coin.
Okay, all right.
The shame is the fact that there was a point in my life when I thought that Jim Morrison was an actual intellectual poet.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's pretty shameful.
when I hear the words now, it's like, ugh. Yeah, I think what I'm saying is this. I think right now it reads as really pretentious.
Okay, all right.
It's one thing to have a song with interesting lyrics where you're trying to do something beyond just like the basic, like pop music.
Right,
And I
right.
really do appreciate that. But to do a sort of poem thing on an album, you really have to be able to stand behind that poetry.
Right.
It's not as pretentious as like the Moody Blues.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Right.
What was it, like dark-hearted orb that rules the night?
Yeah, yeah,
Removes
don't.
it's horrible.
Don't.
Absolutely
Don't
horrible.
do it.
Dog roll. It's not that bad, but it's kind of getting down there.
Okay, if you...
Yeah, that's my feelings about it are complicated.
I
It's
see
kinda
that,
where-
yeah. I see that.
But I have a long history with it at the same time.
Right.
I can't deny it.
Right. I can't listen to this album without it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
When
No,
I first
yeah.
heard it, I was a little put off. I was like, what
Yeah.
the hell is going on here
Now,
for
see,
a second?
I was intrigued as all hell when I first heard it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? This
What's
is
he
amazing.
talking about? I got into it more when I got older.
Okay.
And started
Yeah.
liking it and appreciating it more because that's when I started writing lyrics too.
You got inspired by the Doors in a different way, right?
The darkness
Which
of the
is-
lyrics, etc.
but also
And the music.
also to
musicianship.
maybe to become a singer.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, he's a big influence on me, like I said
Yeah.
earlier, especially the lyric writing, which can be dark, can be corny at times
Oh,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Very ham-fisted sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Over the top, but then he does have those shining moments where some of his words are just fantastic and fantastical.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I still dig it, and I like this track. I like
Yeah.
Horse Latitudes. I do. I want to know what a horse latitude is. He's telling the audience, you make up your own mind what it's about. I always appreciate a good storyteller, poet, musician, writer.
Well, it's based on that painting, right?
Is it?
A painting of or maybe it's an actual incident, but it's something where there's a ship in a storm, and in order to like decrease the weight of it, they toss the horses overboard.
Right. I know what you're
So I
talking
think
about.
there was
yeah.
a painting based on that, and
Right.
so he got inspired by that because the heads are bobbing up in the
Well,
water. or
yeah,
something.
right now, yeah. When
Yeah.
the steel sea,
Yeah.
what does it say? When the steel seas conspire.
in armor.
Right, right.
Yeah, I can recite it by heart.
Wow.
That's how. Yeah, so it's complicated.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
But it all seems like you and I were inspired by the Doors in like two different ways, right? I mean,
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, we
I'll
both
agree
go-
with that.
yeah.
I wanted to wear leather pants and scream on stage. You
And I
wanted to
wanted to
write
write poetry.
poems. You wanted to write poems. I was like, God damn it! When I become a singer, I'm getting some fucking leather pants. That shit is cool. And then you get a pair of them and you wear them on stage and you're sweating like crazy. Maybe this is a bad idea. My balls are wet.
On that note, shall we move on? And this is Moonlight Drive, which kind of picks up right where the last track ended, right?
Yeah, they bleed into each other.
They bleed into each other, yeah.
It's almost like Horse Latitudes is a segue
Yeah,
into
exactly, yeah. This is
Moonlight
a very
Drive.
early song.
One of the first
Yeah.
songs Morrison showed Manzarek,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lyrics to this. So technically, it could be the first song that the Doors worked on, or at least Jim and Ray.
There are apparently early demo versions that I think predated Robbie Krieger. From what I
Really?
understand. I think they're lost, but yeah, they're working on it very, very early on.
I could see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, it's mentioned in the film also when they're sitting on the beach together.
Exactly, yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know if you could take that movie so much as fact as
I don't
myth.
think you can take any of it as fact. I mean, one thing, it's Oliver Stone.
I was going to
So-
say that, yeah. Right.
And much of the script is actually based on Doors lyrics, which
Right.
is kind of stupid,
Right.
if you ask me.
And there were surviving Doors at that point. 3 of the Doors were still alive.
And Ray Manzarek hated it.
Ray
He was
did
just
not.
like, this is bullshit.
He didn't want
Yeah.
anything to do with it. Densmore, John, is in
Yeah.
the movie playing a producer at one point
Uh-huh.
when Jim is doing his spoken word poetry for An American Prayer.
Yeah.
So that's
Now,
John.
wasn't it partly based on Densmore's book? Partly, obviously, no one here gets out alive,
Right.
which is like the
Sugarman,
the
yeah.
seminal kind of book. But I
Right.
think Densmore had come out with a book at that point or something like that.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That I don't know.
Or maybe Densmore kind of did add, because it seemed like he was involved.
Right.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But the movie's more about style over substance.
It totally is. It totally is.
But anyway, we're not reviewing
Yeah,
the movie
yeah, yeah,
anyhow. Moonlight Drive. You know what a Moonlight Drive is, right? So basically, Moonlight Drive is you drive out to the beach, swim out as far as you can till you can't make it back and too tired to swim back to shore.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's a suicide.
Yeah. And they drown at the end.
Yeah.
In the song.
Right.
Like it's this romantic song, but then it ends up with this really dark kind of ending.
Right.
The slide guitar makes it really eerie, even though it kind of sounds like a Hawaiian slide guitar.
Right.
But it's off, right?
Right.
In a weird way.
right.
The piano has like a funky feel, solid production all over.
Of course.
Like layered instrumentation. Yeah, I think it's a really nicely put together track.
What you're talking about at the end, drowning.
Yeah.
Morrison is screaming the vocals at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
And that high-pitched scream that he does, that he
And
pulls off.
his voice just falls into a well at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, doesn't he even say it as the song is fading out?
Baby Gonna Drown
Yeah,
Tonight.
baby
Going
gonna drown
down,
tonight.
Down, down. Yeah.
And they fade out on that.
Yep.
I mean, when I first found that out, I was like, "Holy shit, that's dark. That's some dark shit right there."
Way to bring down a room, Morrison.
Right, way to bring the party down.
Now, as we mentioned, they got really big at the Whiskey A Go Go. I mean, that was part of their early appeal. From what I understand, people would say to each other, "You got to go check out this band at the Whiskey A Go Go. The
Word of
lead
mouth,
singer is
yeah.
crazy."
Right? Yeah.
And that dark thing, I think, really stood out.
At the
because
time, too.
in L.A. especially,
Right.
you didn't have a lot of bands plumbing the darkness.
Right.
You had a lot of bands copying the Beach Boys.
Right.
So you know
Flower
what? Yeah, you know
power.
what they're singing about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Then these guys come on. It's like they were sort of the West Coast version of the Velvet Underground's kind of dark vibe.
Right. Which is why Warhol liked them too, as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And in the beginning, Morrison couldn't face the crowd.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
yeah.
He was too shy.
That does show up in the movie, but that was a fact. Yeah.
That was a fact. The band
Yeah,
can test to
exactly,
it.
yeah.
Then finally, just one day, he spun around, and
Yeah.
that was it. He became full-on frontman
Yep. Yeah.
and out of control.
yeah. He never came back. From
Yeah,
that.
right. I don't know. I think as rock legends go, we're better for it. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big influence. Everybody loves seeing a singer go crazy on stage and doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah. What's
So-
the craziest thing you've ever done on stage?
Oh, we don't want to get into that.
It's another podcast.
Right. Oh, it was ugly.
And this one is People Are Strange. It's a good, simple guitar figure there.
Nice, quiet opening.
Yeah. So another single.
Right.
Now this one got popular again when Echo and the Bunnymen covered it for,
For
Lost
Lost
Boys,
Boys, right.
And it was almost a note-by-note cover.
It
kind
was.
of pointless.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a decent cover, but
Yeah. But maybe some people discovered the Doors because of it.
I'd say so.
Yeah. There was even a poster of Jim Morrison in the movie, right?
American Poet, yeah.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the Vampire's Lair.
Yeah.
The Lost Boys Lair.
And everybody was saying that Jason Patrick was going to play Jim Morrison in the
Because
movie.
he kind of resembled him back
He
then.
did, yeah.
He really, the hair,
Like,
everything.
Was that a real thing or just something people said?
I think
don't-
that was a
It was
rumor.
just
I
like-
really don't know if
Yeah,
that's true
yeah.
or not. But he did. There's even one shot that Schumacher pulls off where the poster of Morrison's face melds with Jason Patrick's.
Yeah.
It's very odd. Very,
Yeah.
That movie is nothing but close-ups of all those young guys in that movie.
Basically,
a lot
yeah.
of close-ups.
Oh, yeah. It's a bluesy solo. the keyboard here almost has like a Kurt Weill kind of sound.
Okay, I'll go with
And
that.
we know that they're fans. I mean, they covered Alabama Song in the first album.
Right.
There were fans, I think, of Bertolt Brecht as well, because they like that theatricality. That was a big. When you think about that, I think the Doors were one of the first bands that kind of really tried to bring a theatrical experience
Oh,
to
absolutely.
the stage.
Absolutely.
Like Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek met each other at UCLA Film School.
Film school, yes.
Like, if you imagine another reality, they could have been filmmakers.
Right.
Like,
Well, they wanted to be.
they could have been Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
Right.
And Raiders of the Lost Ark would have been a very, very different movie.
It would have been a dark-ass movie.
But they brought that sensibility to the stage,
Right.
I think, which is another big component to their live shows, and you get that to some extent on the albums as well.
Well, I mean, without using props even.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Just
exactly.
the drama
Yeah.
and all that was the band
Yeah.
and Morrison's antics.
I've read about the show they used to do for The Unknown Soldier, which is it's on
Right,
another
yeah,
album, but
yeah.
they like mimic his execution, stuff like that.
Where Morrison stands with his hands behind his
Yeah,
back, the
yeah,
blindfold, the whole
Uh-huh.
9 to cigarette.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Robbie shoots him with his guitar.
Yeah.
Which, other guitarists and musicians have copied with
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
acting like the guitar is a rifle. I mean, Lemmy from Motorhead used to do it at the end of every show where he kind of shoots down the audience.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very theatrical. I mean, especially during the end alone.
Oh, exactly.
Which is another album. That's the first album.
Yeah.
But I think that was the height of their theatricality. Mm-hmm. I mean, talk about Oedipus complex.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So that's when they got kicked out of the whiskey. When
that
they
happen,
performed
really?
that, yeah.
Okay.
That's when they got fired from the whiskey. Jim performed it the original way, where he does say,
Mother, I want to fuck
I
you.
want to fuck you.
Yeah.
And the owner was like, "You guys get the fuck out of here."
Okay.
You fired. And then right after that, they got the record deal. Literally right
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
So that, I think, where Rothschild and the head of Elektra saw them perform that and said, "We want to put you on record.
Yeah.
You want a record deal?
It's a smart move.
Yeah."
Next up, My Eyes Have Seen You. What do you think about this one?
Another one that opens up with bass,
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
It's eerie.
Yeah.
It's got an eerie quality to it.
Okay.
What does he mean? My eyes have seen you, as opposed to his ears.
Yeah.
But it's once again almost stalkerish,
Yeah, there's something pretty creepy about it.
right?
Yeah. I find the lyrics kind of forgettable in this one.
Okay.
Yeah. Show me some
Besides, right. Besides just
Yeah.
the idea of my eyes have seen you,
more. Yeah.
like they're not part of his body,
Yeah.
almost. Almost talking about it like they're not a part of him.
Yeah.
That's the eerie thing about it. And once again, like I said, the music has an eerie quality to it until you get to your kind of basic Doors sound here with Robbie's guitars.
It's kind of a boring guitar song. I find the song kind of forgettable, actually.
Okay, all right.
Like every time I put this album, I'm like, oh yeah, this song exists. Yeah. But what do you think about it?
Once again, I like
Yeah.
I like the song.
Okay.
Not necessarily for lyrical content or what have you, like we just discussed.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way the song sounds to me, the musicianship, that I like.
Okay.
It's definitely a deep cut.
Yeah.
You never
Oh, yeah.
hear this on the radio
No, you never
or
will.
on any sort of compilation by the Doors whatsoever.
No.
Or any documentary about the Doors, or even the Doors movie.
No, I can't imagine
It's
that.
a deep, deep cut.
Yeah.
But I dig it.
Okay.
I dig it as,
Okay.
and especially as part of the
enough.
record, because I like listening to albums.
Yeah.
So I
Uh-huh.
can't
Yeah,
listen to the album without the song.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. No.
But,
yeah.
If I had to lose one, I guess.
We'll get to that at the
into
end. Yeah.
But
All right. Next up, I Can't See Your Face in My Mind.
so first, his eyes have seen you.
Yeah.
Now he can't see your face.
Yeah. Bit confused there. Now, Manzarek playing the marimba.
Yeah.
Along with the keyboard on this one, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's more of a kind of tactile, real feel to it.
Well, also again, like
Morrison's
you said,
crooning.
the experimentation on this album.
Yeah. There's some backwards looping going on
Right.
at some point, right? Yeah.
Yeah. whoop.
Yeah.
You'll hear it, right.
Yeah. Yeah. This. What is Morrison doing here?
Here we go.
What is his
Carnival dogs
conceal the night?
conceal the night. Ham-fisted poetry.
What does it have to do with the first thing you say?
See, but I've always been influenced by that. Let the listener decide what the hell it means. Put your own imagination to it.
Yeah, again, for just typical rock music,
Yeah.
it makes things interesting.
It
really
paints
does.
a picture.
Exactly, it does.
You kind of get some images going
It's
in
true.
your mind.
Yeah, it's true.
And there's your backwards.
Yeah, it's going on right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and vocally, what is he doing here? What do you think he's trying to be? It's almost like he's trying to be Frank Sinatra or something.
Yeah, he's crooning
right?
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Low crooning, very soft
Yeah,
crooning.
yeah.
It's almost like he's trying to be romantic about this idea
Yeah.
or the lyrical content or his words.
Uh-huh.
Definitely not Horse Latitudes.
No.
The exact opposite. It's very soft and quiet, especially his vocals.
Yeah.
Or maybe he could have just been high or drunk and said, you know, I can only sing like this today, guys.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. You know, because he is very low. He's also kind of low in the mix to me.
Yeah, okay.
He's not as prominent
that,
as
yeah.
up front.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear Robbie over him
Uh-huh. Yeah.
at points. Maybe it was something they were going for
Yeah, sure.
stylistically.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Okay.
once again, you know, another great track.
A suitable title for the last track when the music's over. Okay, so this is one of those kind of long, epic things, right?
Right.
Like on the first album, The End.
The end,
Like on later albums, Soft Parade,
right?
L.A. Woman,
You had L.A. Woman. That was another epic opus.
and The Celebration of Lizard, which only showed up on that live album.
Right.
Which they never actually did on studio, but yeah.
They never recorded it in
Yeah.
studio.
Now this is, the bass on this I think is just the keyboard. Mm-hmm. I believe it's just constant.
Right.
Like it kind of ties the whole song together.
And you can tell live when they play it live. You see Manzarek playing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bass on keys.
Yeah.
But almost once again, trying to mimic what they did on the first album. Having
Yeah.
the long opus at the end.
Yeah.
With the first album, with the debut, it was the end. Now you got when the music's over.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the counterpart.
I don't know if it was a hit when the album came out. I think it got radio play,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. I know it was a staple on classic rock stations.
Okay. Yeah.
I know that.
And it's tailor made for a theatrical performance.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know,
It's just
like
built for it, yeah.
Like you've got his yell and
I mean, musically, it's
words.
built dramatically.
yeah.
It's crafted dramatically.
Yeah. And at some point we get a guitar solo combined with a theremin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another little piece
I'm
of
a fan of the theremin.
Yep.
I am a fan of the fucking theremin.
Yep.
Classic Jim.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah.
The dark crooner.
Yeah, like I like what Krieger's doing with the guitar.
Oh, yeah,
here
yeah,
to sort of-
absolutely.
it's a challenge to keep a song like this moving,
Right.
and I think they managed pretty well with it.
Because it feels a little sparse
Yeah.
at points, a little sparse. It's
Yeah.
got a lot of room,
Yeah.
but that's also part of building the drama.
Yeah, exactly.
So we
yeah.
can get to this chorus.
Yeah.
This part of the chorus.
Yep.
Where it gets heavier. Starts to hit you over the head a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of knocking you out, punching you. Densmore's drums feel like they're punching in right in the nose, you know?
Yep.
Bop, bop, bop.
Yeah.
And then the nice stop,
Yeah.
which I'm always a fan of in rock music.
Yeah.
And Morrison's voice sounds like he's on the verge of a breakdown.
Huh.
His voice sounds like it's going to crack at almost any minute,
Okay.
certain parts.
Okay.
And eventually, here and there it does,
Yeah.
but he used it
Yeah.
kind of as a vehicle towards the emotion of his words. To me, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But we know he wasn't a classically trained singer by any
Nope.
means.
Nope.
He had never sang before.
Yeah.
Before the Doors. But now he's a legend for crying
Yeah.
out loud.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wonder how things would have gone if he had lived.
Yeah.
You know, I
That's-
think about that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, imagine the Doors being like the Rolling Stones now,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yeah, I know.
That's an alternate history right there.
I
yeah.
don't, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an alternate reality.
Because they kept trying. They came out with 2 albums.
I know, without Jim. I
Have
know.
you listened to those albums?
Yes, I have.
They're rough, right?
Yeah, they're hard to
Have you actually
listen
gotten
to.
through both of them?
No.
I haven't
Not
either.
in a long time.
I haven't either.
Not in a long fucking time.
It's well, which makes me think. I mean, how how good a band were they musically.
Okay, wow.
It's provocative, but
Right.
if they couldn't bring something together without Jim Morrison, what was going
Well,
on?
he really became the face of the band, literally.
Yeah, the face.
Literally.
But it's like they didn't have anything without him.
Right. Well, I mean, they started off all together. They had chemistry together.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, I mean, there are other examples like Joy Division with New Order.
right.
You know?
Yeah, they went on. Right.
Yeah, became a bigger thing than Joy Division.
But it was also a different thing. So maybe the
Yeah,
Doors
sure.
needed to switch it up a little bit more, perhaps. They kind of started going to jazz territory, though.
Yeah, on those albums, you hear them trying some different things,
Yeah.
from what I remember.
Jazz experimentation
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. Which, if you're a Doors fan, you're like, what the fuck is this shit?
They could have had a new life as a jazz fusion band.
But change the name. For me. Change
well,
the name.
like, again, Joy Division, New
To
Order.
New Order,
you
yeah,
know.
right.
But no, they just collapsed.
Yeah,
They
which
didn't-
is sad. Because they're competent musicians, still, the three of them.
Competent, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Talented, even, I'll
Yeah,
say.
no, you're right. Yeah, but it really was Jim Morrison
Yeah,
who brought it all together.
he brought the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, the drama on stage, too.
yeah.
Didn't play any instrument.
Nope.
Just sang.
Yeah. He just was.
And that
who
was
he
enough.
Was. Yeah.
And that was enough.
Yeah. I like that here you can hear the scream of the butterfly.
Yeah, it's a great,
On the,
great line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a guitar.
I want to hear. See, once again, he almost cracks. I want to
Yeah.
hear. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just
And also
sort of
his,
happens in the
his
background.
enunciation and cadence, I think, influenced a lot of singers too. A lot of
Oh, I'm
singers.
sure. Yeah.
You know, where you don't have to sing
Yeah.
it all. You can break up a word even. You know, like he says butterfly, you know, instead of like butterfly.
Yeah. And a lot of the kind of new wave gothy singers, they copy that baritone and
Yeah.
presentation.
Ian.
Again, echoing the Bunnymen.
Yeah,
back
and Ian,
to, yeah.
Joy Division.
Yeah.
So-
Two Ians.
Yeah, right.
Joy Division Ian and Echoing the Bunnymen Ian.
Right, both. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, remarkably influential as a band.
Yeah. Yeah.
That much is very, very true.
Well, I think also, too, for me, being a singer, when I heard Morrison's voice for the first time, I said, oh, shit, you can sing like that? You don't have to sing like Robert Plant?
Okay.
Okay, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to sing so high all the time, or... Because, of course, I got into the Doors a little bit later.
Okay.
You know, my teenage years. First bands I was listening to was like, you know, Kiss and
So
Zeppelin.
you call the teenage years your later years?
Well, when it came to getting into the Doors...
Okay.
Hey, you weren't a teenager with me. We were doing some fucked up shit. That aged me. It fucking aged the hell out of me. But, you know, a lot of friends of mine were already into them.
Okay.
I didn't get into them right away. I was into other bands, other rock bands, before I got into the Doors.
Okay.
It just happened to be one of those things where I was listening to the radio one day, and I think I heard the end or whatever. And suddenly it just clicked for me.
Yeah.
Where I all of a sudden heard them in a different light, in a completely
Yeah.
different light, heard them in a whole new way.
Okay.
And I started going out and buying their albums and just started absorbing them. You know, after a while, I couldn't get enough of it.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
but they only put out so many.
Yeah.
And then that
I mean,
was it.
You got 6 albums. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, when you.
Yeah. Of course, you got to buy the American Prayer album. And,
Yeah, right. You buy
I
all of
did,
them.
and yeah.
But then you never listen to it after a while.
No,
You
no,
know?
didn't listen to that
Yeah.
one too much. Yeah. For me, I heard Light My Fire. I was like, okay, what's this silly pop band? Then I see Apocalypse Now, and I'm like, who the hell did this opening number with the
Right.
napalm and the helicopters? And then I went out and bought that album.
Right.
And that was it.
Right.
I feel like once you buy that and you commit to that first album, you're done.
Yeah, you're in it.
You are done.
You're in it.
You've opened the door, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
The Doors of Perception. Well, they got their name from the poem.
Exactly.
Right. Same thing. Just wound up loving all their stuff. Still
Yeah.
do to this day. I listen to all their records often.
Now that's a funny point. There are bands that I liked when I was young that I have grown with and I still are really into. The Doors are not one of those bands for me,
Really?
and I don't know why that is.
Okay.
But yeah, they're just not.
You feel like you've grown out of it?
I hate saying it like that because
Yeah.
it makes it's kind of narcissistic.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
a little pretentious, right?
But
to say it that way.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
right.
But I kind of feel that way quite, and I think maybe I don't think the musicianship is that great.
Okay.
That I get more out of it now as a more just kind of, I hate to say sophisticated listener, but what a dick. Just from hearing a lot more music and being able to understand the nuances of different types of music. There are certain bands I liked back then that like, oh, okay, I can hear them in a different way and appreciate them even more from this journey I've taken through all kinds of different music.
I understand what you mean.
The Doors, I don't necessarily feel that way about. Now, I will say that coming back to this album, first I'm like, oh God, The Doors again. But listening to it again, I'm like, okay, yeah, there is something here. I do know why I liked The Doors originally.
Right.
And I understand why people still like The Doors.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a nice journey back
Right.
into them to appreciate them again.
I think there are three types of fans when it comes to The Doors.
Yeah.
You got your casual fan who likes, you know, Light My Fire and Love Me Two Times and, you know, the big hit singles.
Yeah.
Then you got your completists like me. I love their catalog.
Yeah.
And then you got the fan that likes the greatest hits. You know?
Okay.
Just the greatest hits, period.
Uh-huh.
Like they'll have the greatest hits record. They don't know
Sure.
anything about the deeper cuts and don't care to. As opposed to the casual fan, like you said, the casual fan doesn't own a record.
Right.
But if they hear a single or they have it on their phone or what have you on their computer, they download two singles maybe, two or three singles at best.
Yeah.
So, and it's a love-hate thing with the Doors. I've encountered with other people.
Okay.
There are some people that are like, oh, fuck yeah, I love the Doors, man. Yeah, let's hear that.
Yeah.
And then people that are like, do not put that shit on.
Yeah.
That,
No,
like,
why?
No,
Why
they
do you
just
think they don't?
do not like
Yeah.
the musicianship.
Okay.
I always get the whole carnival thing. Oh, it sounds like fucking carnival music. I can't listen to that. You know, I don't want that
Interesting.
in a rock band. I don't want the fucking merry-go-round music playing. I've gotten that before.
I can see how the organ-based music can be off-putting to people who are, you know, like much harder rock.
Right.
Yeah, because they were an oddity in that they were really kind of based around those melodies.
Yeah.
You know?
But it was the darkness of it. At that time, nobody else was really doing that.
True. Yeah.
You know, it was like the sick carnival, the crazy clown nonsense.
Yeah.
Evil clown of your dreams
Yeah.
for me.
Definitely an obsessed fan who had all those albums plus the American Prayer.
Yeah.
I had my first Doors album autographed by Ray Manzarek.
Wow.
I saw him live in an interesting way. He was touring with Michael McClure,
Really?
another beat poet whom I got into because of Jim Morrison.
Uh-huh.
And they're doing this thing where Michael McClure would read his poetry and Ray Manzarek would do, like, you know, keyboard stuff
Right.
in the background.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was amazing. I don't think I could read a single Michael McClure poem now because, again, you know, it's that whole
Well,
thing.
your tastes
you kind of
change.
you
It's more like what it is. Your taste
exactly,
changes.
exactly, yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
But yeah, no, I was super, super obsessed with the Doors.
Well,
yeah,
I still look at the Doors as just the Doors. That's
Sure.
why I can continue to listen to them to this day without any sour feeling or
Yeah.
shame or
Without-
what have you. Because you seem a little
shame
ashamed.
defines me.
Right? Right? God, it's not like you got caught by your mom masturbating or anything because you like the Doors.
Let's not talk about that.
How many times? Not again, Mom. Lock the door. But that's why I still like the bands that I like.
Yeah,
Because I can listen to them just as who they are.
I
And
think-
there is nostalgia for it. In
Right.
it for me as well.
Right.
Where some of the music takes you back to when you first discovered it.
Sure.
And especially for me,
Yeah.
when you were younger and discovering some of this music for the first time, I
Right.
still can get that feeling a little bit. Mm-hmm. Even though I
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
album back to front, I still can get, oh man, that was a great time when I got this record.
Okay.
And heard it for the first time. So,
It's highly subjective, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's the power of music.
Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why.
Not to sound fucking
touch
corny, you know.
Yeah, no, it can touch you and grab you and make you feel
Uh-oh.
all sorts of things
Whoa.
you want to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Grab me, touch me, make me feel all sorts of things I don't want to feel.
Okay.
Safety word. We need a safety word.
Cinnamon. That's a deep cut. Okay, so let's talk about the album cover here.
Here we go.
It is unusual. I mean, what I really like, because back at that time, an album cover had to have the name in big font.
Sure.
And the band members.
And the band members,
Because that's
yeah.
how you sell an album.
Right.
It's like you got to walk into the record store and you got to see that album with the Doors, like, and Jim Morrison's face on there, like, prominently, right?
I gotta say this.
Yeah.
The only time you can pull this off without the band on it
Yeah.
is if you're already established.
Exactly.
Way down the line.
Yeah, yeah.
not your second album.
No, yeah, you're right.
Not
I
your
mean,
second
it's a bold move.
It is.
To have this thing where it's basically like a bunch of circus performers, and they're actual guys, right?
Yeah, they
Not
are.
all of them, but some of them. Like
He was an actual actor, the dwarf.
yeah.
He was an actual actor in
Yeah.
various films.
And they're just, I think, like the trumpet guy was maybe just a random dude, but
Yeah, he was like a random guy.
yeah.
They
But
got
they're
the
just-
juggler, the mime, the strong man.
They're on a street in New York, and
It's like a back alley or something.
and there's like a
It's a back alley.
I think I read it was Midtown someplace.
Was it? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
No, you're
yeah,
correct.
yeah. And the doors are like on a poster.
On a bill.
Yeah. So it's bold, but what do you think about it as just an image?
I like it.
Yeah, it definitely does say carnival-esque, which
Yeah.
does happen in the music.
Right, which we
Yeah.
discussed about the music.
Yeah.
It's strange.
It
kinda
is strange.
fits-
No, you're right.
It
It is
fits
strange.
the theme.
Yeah, it is fitting.
It's a big chance to take. Like
It
we were
is,
saying.
yeah.
Like you said, you can barely see the band members on that
Yeah.
tiny poster on the wall
Yeah.
at Bill.
Uh-huh.
And then the title of the album is even smaller. It's almost even smaller.
Yeah.
Really got to look at it. Well, once again, we're looking at a CD cover.
Sure.
Back when
Yeah,
it came
yeah.
out as an album,
It's
the image was
large.
a lot larger.
Yeah.
I still dig it. I still like the album cover. Took a big chance. They never took a chance like this again.
Nope.
With their album covers.
No,
They
no,
were
no,
always
no.
on it.
I don't enjoy looking at it aesthetically, but I like the statement of it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm really into it. in
It
that
kind of
regard.
says what the Doors were about a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
And it does sum up the album sound a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, these
Yeah.
parading circus performers in some street in New York City, of all places.
Yeah, not L.A.
Right.
New York City.
New York City, yeah.
Because they recorded this in L.A.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were from L.A.
They were an L.A.
They
band.
were a proud L.A. band.
Yeah. But this got shot in New
Yeah.
York for some reason. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
back of the album there.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
I almost like that as a cover.
I kind of do too.
I kind of want the back of the album to be the cover.
I think it's a better composition.
Yeah.
I like the lighting better. It's more
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would concur with you on that.
And here we have the little man asking almost for a tip or something for performing on the street
knows?
in front
Yeah.
of this woman who's
Yeah.
in some odd gown.
Some caftan type thing,
There you
whatever
go,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah, I don't know.
And here you got the poster a little bit larger.
All right.
But this is not the image that we're used to seeing where Morrison's face is in profile.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's almost like they're looking out some sort of interdimensional window
yeah.
at the audience, at the viewer. And there you get the title of the album a little bit more prominent.
Exactly.
I kind of wish the back was
Yeah,
the
I kind of feel that too.
front. You know,
yeah.
I kind of wish that.
Yeah.
See, and then of course on the inside, then you got
Then you got the band.
the picture of the
Yeah,
band.
yeah.
I think it's a cool album cover.
Yeah.
And the fact that they took a chance, but I guess they learned a lesson because after that they had to have their mugs plastered on every album
Studio's
cover.
like, no, we're not doing that again.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, segment you hate. This is Gun to the Head.
Gun to the head!
Ah, yeah. All right. What's your top song?
Oh, so difficult. So difficult for me.
Yeah.
I'm torn between Strange Days
Yeah.
and Moonlight Drive. It's hard for me to pick between those two. You know what? I'm going to go the title track, Strange Days.
Yeah.
Just because it's an odd track.
Yeah.
It's an odd opener. You expect maybe Love Me Two Times or something to be the opening track on this album. Once again, they took a chance and went with Strange Days.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
You know, it's funny. That is my struggle as well between
Yeah.
those two songs. But
Really?
I'm going for Strange Days.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Odd vocal approach, effect-wise.
It's got a great drive to it.
Yeah.
I like that bass and the,
Strange
yeah.
days have found us. Yeah.
It sets the whole tone.
Yeah.
Not only for that album, but for an era, I feel.
Yeah, I'll go with that. You've said this before about other bands that we've reviewed. It's almost like a mission statement
Exactly. Yeah.
for the album.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quote you on that.
This is what you're going to hear.
Yeah, this is what you're in for.
Yep.
Like I said, for first listen for me, and I can imagine a casual fan, it's a little off-putting. The first time I heard it, I said, what's happening here?
Yeah.
You know, because on the debut album, you know, you've got Break On Through.
Yeah.
Huge opener
Yep.
for a debut. So you're thinking it's going to be more of that, but it isn't.
Nope.
This album is not anything like the debut, to me. Certain concessions here and there, like maybe the music's over, like we talked about. That sounds like it could have been on the first album.
Easily,
But you
yeah.
can't, maybe that was the thing, you can't have
There'd
two
be
of
like
those songs.
4 songs on the whole album.
Right, exactly. Then it's Inagata Vita,
Yeah.
you know, where side 2 is just one
It'd be like a
song.
Yes album.
Right. I kind of remember something being said about that.
Yeah.
With When the Music's Over.
Okay.
About them not putting that on the first record because they already had the end.
Yeah.
And you could kind of see it. That would fit. That song would fit on the first album.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, okay.
Other way.
Gun to the head the other way.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. Well, we kind of talked about it. God. I think I'm going to go My Eyes Have Seen You.
Yeah, that's mine too.
As much as we talked about the oddity that is Horse Latitudes,
Yeah.
I still kind of like it because
Kind of. That's
it's
kind
so
of my
strange and
feeling
odd.
too.
It's odd.
Yeah, yeah.
I almost don't wish it was a song, that it was just a segue into, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Untitled segue right into the next song, which the next song was
Moonlight Drive.
Moonlight
Yeah.
Drive, yes, right. So yeah, if that was a segue right into Moonlight Drive, I think that would have been cooler. But of course, Morrison's going to want his way
Of course,
with a
yeah.
strange title like Horse Latitudes, possibly based on this painting that you had mentioned. But yeah, I think I'll drop that
Yeah.
one. I'll drop
My
drop
Eyes
it.
Have Seen You.
My eyes. I'll drop that one.
Yeah. Well, I think we got a consensus on this one.
Really?
Yeah, that's how
This
it
rarely happens.
I know, it's weird.
This is only like the second time.
Yeah.
The first one was on Def Leppard or Dio.
I think maybe Dio.
It was
yeah,
on Dio.
yeah,
We
Which
agreed.
was the
Yeah. Okay.
I think you and I have a really, really similar take on this album.
Yeah.
It's really kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Even though
We do not talk about this beforehand.
Yeah, we have almost different. Like our emotional reaction is different.
Yeah.
Like our aesthetic reaction is the same.
It's similar. Yes.
Like I just have more mixed in with my love is this weird shame thing and this
Instead of a
going
love-hate
back to
thing.
a place where I don't want to go.
Right.
But I think aesthetically and objectively, I think we appreciate it in a very similar way.
Right.
Yeah.
Place you don't want to go back to, like that bar you embarrassed yourself at or something like that. I'm never
That's-
going there again.
That's what the Doors are for me.
Really?
They're the bar
That
I
you
embarrass
puked
myself
in.
Yep. That's what it is.
No, I hear you, but yeah, like you said, there we do differ. I have no shame in liking the Doors and listening to them still.
Yeah.
And like I said, certain people, certain friends of mine and acquaintances of mine, they're like, "Oh man, really? You like those guys? The hell? I liked them when I was like 15." You know, so I've gotten that before.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
And
yeah.
certain big fans of the Doors love Morrison.
Yeah.
Like I do. Like I said, he was an influence on me. People that don't like the Doors, they just consider him a buffoon.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it was a hard line they had to walk, I believe, even when they were around and popular.
Yeah.
And they sold out stadiums and all this and that. But they did get as much hate even when they were around.
Yeah.
They got as much hate as they did love.
He showed up on the cover of Rolling Stone as like most wanted.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like
I
a
know.
huge backlash at one point.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's Rolling Stone magazine.
I know.
And they were much, much hipper back then than they are now.
Right.
You know, now they're established. Back then they're still kind of edgy.
Right, yeah. And also, I mean, their antics. I mean, they were banned in so many cities. They had to cancel after the Florida incident.
Yeah.
All of those gigs.
Yep.
Nobody wanted them to play anywhere. No one would book them.
Yeah.
I think the only performance they did before Morrison died was for the Village Voice on a soundstage.
Okay, yeah.
And that's a great performance. Morrison's got the full beard and the whole thing. And
Yeah.
he had put on some weight, wearing sunglasses the whole time.
What is wrong with being a large mammal?
Right, smack, smack, smack on your belly. Yeah, even Ray Manzarek said that, you know, it was right around that time that the food and the drink started to catch up to him a little bit. Sadly, he was only 27.
Yeah, it's
when
hard to
he
imagine.
joined the 27 Club.
Yeah.
With Jimmy and Janice.
Yeah.
Later on, Kurt Cobain, which is crazy. That was a great performance, and if you can find it, I know there are segments of it up on YouTube. They do an interview afterwards too.
Okay.
The weird thing about it is that the guy, the writer of the article, he wrote articles for the Village Voice here in New York. He interviews them.
Yeah.
When he's interviewing them, he's wearing a cape, like a Dracula cape,
Oh, God, okay.
with the big collar and the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's wearing a fucking cape. And Morrison is obviously during the interview stoned on something.
Yeah,
He's got
okay.
sunglasses on, but you can make out that during points of the interview, his eyes are closed.
Yeah.
His eyelids are shut. But when he gets in front of the mic, boom. It's like he didn't touch a drop. He didn't smoke anything, drop anything. He just goes for the performance. But when he's sitting there, it seems like, boom, he's just stoned again.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, well, we are done with the D's now, right?
Done with the
so
Ds.
Next up is E. So Enya, right?
No.
No Enya?
No. Fuck no. What are you,
Really?
crazy? Hell no.
She was kind of rocking.
Kinda?
She had a couple of kind of rock tracks.
You're going to be kicked off this podcast in a minute.
Okay, well, I wouldn't want that. So who do we want to do? It's tough.
E is a tough
If
letter
you want
for
to do
rock
hard
band.
rock metal, it's tough to do
It's
E.
tough.
Yeah.
E's a hard choice because
Yeah.
we're not going to go the Eagles. Sorry, we're not doing Enya.
Yeah. They're just, yeah.
No diss to Enya fans or Eagle fans out there. But we're going to go deep cut when it comes to a band.
Okay.
We're going to go
How
Ronnie
deep?
James Dio Elf.
Okay.
We're
All
going to
right.
go Elf.
Right. For people who never heard of that before, tell us a little bit.
Well, it's Ronnie James Dio's first band.
First band.
His
Okay.
first band before he went on to Rainbow with Richie Blackmore.
Yep.
Then to Sabbath, and then to his solo career. But yeah, we're going to do Elf, Trying to Burn the Sun.
Cool.
Their
Okay.
third album.
That is it. That's what we're going to do.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening, people. I am Max.
I'm Walt.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll!